Man, listen, today we're going to talk about how you can maximize the returns you can earn from the newest stimulus bill. Usually when people see a new stimulus pass, they hop to just celebrating a $1,400 stimulus check. But did you know that in this bill, there are so many other tax credits that far exceed the $1,400? Today we're going to talk about how you can get your hands on those credits and maximize it for the greatest return. If you're a taxpayer, you need to be watching this video with the mindset of thinking that Uncle Sam needs to run you your check and make it rain all across your bank account. So if you're ready to get started, do me a favor and kiss the like button with your finger and hit subscribe. So first up, we're going to talk about the stimulus check. If you were on my live yesterday, you already heard me serenade you with me and Mrs. Stimulus, Mrs. Stimulus, Mrs. Stimulus, Mrs. Stimulus, run me my check. So the stimulus checks are going to be based on your adjusted gross income. And essentially what your AGI is, or your adjusted gross income, is your gross income subtracted by your expenses and any deductions. And the resulting number is your AGI. And this is a number that the federal government either taxes, right? They tax it and you either owe them or they send you a refund. This is why I talk a lot about entrepreneurship and how the tax code was set up for owners to win and employees to pay. Because usually during tax time, entrepreneurs, they run to their tax documents and they say, here's how much money I made off my business. And then they count up all of their deductions, all of their losses, and they make sure that they use those to leverage a reduction in their tax bill. But also if you're an individual taxpayer, let's say you don't own a business, you can still write off things like your charitable deductions. So once all those write-offs have been subtracted, that is your AGI. The reason why that's important for you to understand, because there may be some people right now who are watching this video who make above $75,000 as a single person, and you automatically think because that's your salary that you don't qualify. Go pull up your tax paperwork for 2020. Maybe even go look at your 2019 paperwork as an example and look at what your adjusted gross income was and if you meet that threshold. If you are married and you are filing taxes jointly, right? So you said, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Then your income threshold for your adjusted gross income is $150,000. And if you are the head of household, that amount is $112,500. So again, if you're a head of household, that amount is $112,500. If your AGI are these amounts, then you qualify for the full $1,400. And the more money you make above that, the benefit begins to decrease all the way up until zero. So look at these numbers right here, and this will tell you how much you can earn before you don't get any more benefit. So let's keep talking, right? Because you could say broadly that $1,400 checks are going to be mailed to people, but there are also parameters in which you need to operate in order to fully qualify for the check. Here's the thing. You can increase the amount of stimulus you get based off the amount of dependents that you claim on your taxes, right? So we know how claiming dependents work in the community, right? Nuck Nuck done been in your yard all year, just driving his bike across the lawn, right? And you done told Nuck Nuck, get up off of my lawn, Nuck Nuck. You need to take your tires off my grass and put it on the pavement, right? But when tax time comes around, all of a sudden you love Nuck Nuck because you want Nuck Nuck to be up on your taxes, right? So claiming dependents, every dependent that you claim on your taxes, you want to make sure to add that $1,400 benefit if your adjusted gross income is within bounds. So a family of 4 that qualifies based on AGI can get up to $5,600 in stimulus payments, right? Married and filing jointly, that's $1,400 for each spouse, and also 2 $1,400 payments for each child. $5,600, cha-ching. So if you're asking yourself the question, Ayo Keys, what if I had a baby in 2020 or in 2021? We're going to talk about both of those years, right? So if you were one of those people, you were quarantined, you were social distancing with your boo, and you looked over at him and you said, hey baby, do you want to Netflix and chill, right? And he over there on the couch and you over there on the chair, and you like, come on over here to this chair, child. And boom, 9 months later, you got a whole junior, you got a whole third, right? You got the whole baby. So if you had a baby in 2020 and it was after the stimulus payments were paid out, specifically the stimulus checks, and let's say you did not get your check, they did not put no respect on your stimulus check, you can claim that missed check on your taxes. So they're referring to these stimulus checks as the recovery rebate credit. So what that means is that if you did not get your stimulus bill before, now that it is tax time and you've had a baby in 2020, you can go ahead and claim that child as a dependent and get whatever stimulus payment you may have missed in Stimulus 1 and Stimulus 2. Now that it is 2021, let's say, you got started a little bit late in the year. Babe was looking really good, but you was crossing your legs, right? You was crossing your legs. You had your chastity belt on. You was like, I love you, babe, but I want to wait. But you couldn't wait that long. So you got pregnant, and now you both had a baby in 2021. Unfortunately, you will not be able to get that benefit on your 2020 taxes. And the reason why you will not be able to get that benefit in your 2020 taxes is because you had your baby in 2021. And so what that means is that the benefit is still available to you, but you would claim that benefit when you file your 2021 taxes in 2022. So all is not lost. That baby is still good for $1,400, okay? Keep pushing, mama. Keep pushing, papa. You got this. In the meantime, in between time, you go and claim your check if your AGI fits the bill. And let's keep going. We already talked about dependents, but I want to double down on exactly what that means. Your dependents can be the child that you birthed or the child that is underneath your care, for which you have legal guardianship, or your dependents could be an elderly parent who you're claiming as a dependent on your taxes. So if mom and dad came to live with you and you're doing all the things for them as they did for you when you were a child, then guess what? Claiming them as a dependent on your taxes, you can get a stimulus check up to $1,400 for claiming them. Let's talk about taxes. All right. So the stimulus payment cannot be taxed. Why? Because it is a credit. So look at it like a cash advance. So essentially, the government advanced you a tax credit and you were able to take advantage of that credit early outside of tax time. So in that instance, the government doesn't tax credits because it'll almost be like the government taxing the government, right? The government wants to tax you, not itself. So essentially, no. Also, your stimulus check will not be added to your gross income. So let's say your AGI is $5,000 and you received a stimulus check for $1,400. Your adjusted gross income would not be $51,400. So it's not added to your gross income. It will also not be used to reduce your tax refund. So let's say you had a $1,400 tax refund and you're like, yes, I got the stimulus check. They won't take the stimulus check and subtract it from your $1,400 refund. Okay? The credit is additive. And also will not add to your tax bill. So the government is not going to give you a stimulus check for $1,400 and then during tax time say, hey, let me tell you something. I put a little money in your hand. Now I need you to put a little money in my hand. It will not increase your tax bill. And if you didn't get a stimulus check, so that is one of the questions that a lot of people ask me. Hey, yo, kids, I didn't get a stimulus check, right? I looked at my account. I saw a whole bunch of minuses. I ain't see any pluses, right? Or I looked up in the mailbox looking for my stimulus check. Every single time I looked out my window, my neighbor was all up in my mailbox trying to look up in there for her stimulus check, knowing full and well her name was not on my check. And somehow, some way, the check never pulled up in my hand, therefore it never pulled up in my bank account. Well, if you never got your stimulus check, Again, here's the wonderful thing. The stimulus check is like a tax credit. So if you did not get your stimulus check, then you can make sure that when you're filing your taxes, that you can claim the recovery rebate credit, and the recovery rebate credits will be your opportunity to get the stimulus check that you never received when it was first dispersed. This goes for stimulus 1, stimulus 2, and also stimulus 3. Now let's talk about if your stimulus check can be reduced because you owe a debt. Now, for this particular stimulus, they are very explicit about how the stimulus check can be used to pay child support. Now, I know there's some people right now who's watching, you get all cute up on Instagram, you take a picture of your ex-baby holding your child. You're like, oh, this is the father of my child. This is the mother of my child. But when they don't pay child support, guess what? What you call it? Oh, my baby daddy. I called my baby daddy today. And I said, hey, listen, what you need to do is run me my check, right? I called my baby mama today. I said, hey, listen, come on now. You owe me $1 or $2 or $3 or $4 or $5, right? When you're mad at the baby mama and the baby daddy. But when you feeling them, when they did good this month, did good this week, did good today, then they're the mother of the child and the father of the child. Well, for this particular stimulus, right, this third stimulus check, it cannot be used to pay back child support. Now, if you're watching this and you owe child support, I'm going to give it to you straight up, no chaser. If I were you, I would use it to pay BD and BM, but that's your business. But that's what I would do, okay? Your stimulus check cannot be garnished, right? So they cannot take your stimulus check in order to pay federal taxes, state income tax, any type of debts owed to federal agencies, or even any unemployment compensation debts. So the government will not reach their hand into your pocket and take the money that they just awarded you, right? That they just granted to you through a stimulus check and say, because you owe me, run that back. Also, again, not with child support. You're going to have to take that up with BD. You know they're working. You know their AGI is less than $75,000. So you know when you need to pull up and be like, look, Uncle Sam ain't going to put their hand in your pocket. Guess where my hand going to be? In your pocket. Okay? The other thing is, if you were overpaid stimulus checks. So there are some people that were paid more than what they qualified for. So let's say you were due a $600 stimulus check. You looked at it, and Martha May, she was in IRS, she was typing up on her computer, right? And she put an extra zero on top of your $600. So you got a $6,000 stimulus check when you only was supposed to get a $600 stimulus check. If you got the wrong amount, what they're reporting is that they will not ask you to refund that money during tax time or ever. So congratulations. You aren't me, right? That didn't happen to me. It happened to you. The money is what? In your pocket. So let's keep going. 2 institutions that can garnish your wages: debt collectors and creditors, right? So if you had, it might not have been Sally Mae, but if Sally Williams, right? Sally Williams, who issued that credit card, called you up, and you know how they are. Hello, I just wanted to let you know that this is a recorded debt collector. We recording these calls, and you like, click, right? Click. A lot of y'all real good on the click, right? Before they can even say what their name is. If you owe a debt and they are calling you, they can come back and collect their check from the stimulus that is deposited into your bank account. And you know who you are watching this film. Now, I know some of y'all is like, who you talking about, girl? It's not me. I pay all my debts. Phone is ringing right now. Talk about, hello, this is a recorded call. Click. That's you. So ultimately, they can garnish that stimulus check. They can take some of that stimulus check and pay back your debts. Now, this is not advice from Professor Keys. I found this on CNBC. CNBC understands that right now there's some people, guess what? They don't got it. They got to pay rent. They got to pay the light bill. They got to pay their water bill. They got responsibilities to pay right now. So they cannot afford for somebody to take their stimulus check because they need their stimulus check to stimulate their life. Here are 2 recommendations that have been made. If you suspect that your stimulus check will be used to pay debt, which right now you cannot afford to pay back, they recommend 2 things. It is too late for you to change your routing number and your account number with the IRS. So what that means is that you can close the bank account. Close the bank account. Again, this is CNBC telling you this, not Professor Keys, but close the bank account, and the IRS will not be able to forward that money to a closed bank account, but they can send you a check. And what you can do with that particular check is you can take that check to a local retail store, a Checks Cash store. Yes, you're going to have to pay a fee. You can cash that check, use that money to pay your rent, pay your light bill, pay your water bill. But remember, you still need to pay your debts. So that's why you follow Professor Keys, right? We gonna get you right. We gonna get those cash flows. We gonna get them streaming, right? We gonna make sure the cash flows like water in your life, and that you can pay off all of your bad debt and make sure that any debt you have is being invested in assets that can yield an appreciating return. Now, there are some non-filers, right? So there's some folks right now who you're not required to file your taxes by the IRS, but you can still be a beneficiary of the check, right? Of the stimulus check. There is a website that you want to visit on the irs.gov website. And essentially what that does is it allows for you to file tax paperwork, even though you are a non-filer. So you can file your tax paperwork using that link. And when you use that link, the IRS will get your information and they'll know where to send you a check or also where to forward your direct deposit. So again, if you know a non-filer, someone who is not required to file taxes, maybe they're elderly, maybe they're on some type of public assistance program, but essentially they don't have to file taxes, they want to use this link. Let's also talk about other people who qualify. So y'all know I love to have a little fun up here, right? I was just singing me and Mrs. Stimulus, run me my check. But I want to get serious. There are people during this time frame, right? Family members that you know, people who you absolutely care about, who lost loved ones during the coronavirus. And we understand that those losses, they really hurt. Today, the date that I'm recording this video, President Biden was very explicit in making sure that he acknowledged those families who have experienced tremendous loss. If you're one of those individuals and you've lost someone due to COVID, can you receive the benefit that they would have received before they passed? And here's the answer. Maybe. If you are married to a service member who passed away during last year, then you can receive a benefit though they've passed away. Okay, so again, if you're married to a service member and they passed away, and if they were living, they would have qualified for this benefit, guess what you can do? You can receive that benefit on their behalf. And again, I want to offer my condolences to you. And, I send you all of the positive light, love, and energy. Let's keep going. So next, let's talk about inmates. I know how y'all be looking a side eye. Inmates can get a stimulus check. You know that you know somebody who is behind bars. I have a cousin behind bars, and he will call me up and ask me for $1 in a second. I'll give him $5. Phone call be ringing. You have a call from, would you like to accept it? Boop, boop. Yes, what you need, cuz I got you. And it's important for us not to judge that there are inmates that will be receiving this benefit, right? Because one day they may become returning citizens. We also have to understand that the way that the criminal justice system is set up, that there are some people right now who are incarcerated who have not received their due in court, right? So they have not been found innocent or guilty. They're waiting for their trial in order for that sentence to be meted down. And we also know that sometimes there are people who receive sentences, and guess what? They may receive a guilty sentence, they might be innocent. We know that the criminal justice system has been set up for some people to win and other people to lose. And so I need for us to absolve ourselves of the judgment that we assign to people, because there's in places and spaces that we're not right now. So that is the stimulus check. Let's keep going and talk about the child tax credit. If you are a parent, there is an opportunity available to you. So we're going to talk about the 2020 child tax credit, and we're also going to talk about the 2021 child tax credit. And I want you to make sure that you get your pens and pencils ready because the benefit differs in 2020 versus 2021. So first, let's start by talking about the 2020 child tax credit. So it's important for you to know that when you're filing your 2020 taxes, you're filing them in what year? 2021, right? So 2021, you look back on January 1st, 2020, all the way up to December 31st, 2020, and you're able to report what was your gross income, what were your expenses, what were your deductions, and guess what are your credits? And for your child tax credit in 2020, you get a benefit of $2,000 for each child that you claim as a dependent and has a social security number. So if you ran about that hospital, right, before making sure that your baby was on record, go put that baby on record, go call the Social Security Administration, because little Ray J, right, you got little Ray K, we gonna call him Ray K, not Ray J. You got Ray J, he cute, but he expensive. And y'all know kids can be real expensive, and they home with you right now, so you already know you got little Ray K, right? Ray K cute, but Ray K is always hungry, right? You might have a child right now. They in the refrigerator, right? They've been in the refrigerator 12 times before noon. You looking like, okay, you done had breakfast number 4, breakfast number 5, breakfast number 6, breakfast number 7. You probably watching this video right now. Your child is in the refrigerator. You got kids right now that took 5 showers. Haven't been outside, ain't sweated one raggedy daggone bullet, running your water bill up, done left every single light on in the house, and guess who's paying for it? You. The great thing about this tax credit is that you can receive this tax credit if you're single and make $2,000 AGI, adjusted gross income, and if you are married and filing jointly and you make fewer than $400,000, you can get this tax benefit. And this is the exact reason why I always say that if you can figure out a way to make the tax code work on your behalf, you can turn the tax code into another stream of income in your life. $400,000, you get the same benefit as someone who's making $20,000. Y'all, get to know the tax code. Out of this $2,000, $1,400 of it is refundable. And so that means if you have a tax bill of $5,000 and you apply this credit, then it will be $5,000 minus $1,400, and whatever that difference is would be what your remaining tax bill is. But let's say you were savvy, you started a business, you wrote off all of your expenses, and your tax bill was $0. When you apply this tax credit, then you would get a $1,400 tax return. That's what it means when I say $1,400 of it is refundable. So let's talk about 2021. So remember, 2021 taxes, right? We're going to file those in 2022. But there's something about this tax credit in 2021 that you're going to find really interesting. But first, let's talk about it. So for your 2021 child tax credit, you can get $3,000 per child that you claim who is a dependent and also has a social security number. You get $3,000 for any child that is between the ages of 6 and 17 years old. And if your child is below 6, you get $3,600. Let me say that one more time. If your child is under 6, you get $3,600. So for those of you all who got the youngins running around, right? Those people who just had a baby who I was talking about earlier, you over there Netflixing and chilling and baby making, right? Like $3,600 for any child under 6 who you claim as a dependent. And what's so incredible about Stimulus 3 is 100% of that credit is refundable. So again, if you have a $6,000 tax bill, you apply the tax credit, that reduces your tax bill to $3,000. But let's say you have a $0 tax bill and you have a child that's 15 and you apply that $3,000 tax credit, you can get a $3,000 refund. holla at your girl, actually holla at your 15-year-old and tell him he can leave 2 lights on instead of 1. This full tax credit is available to single filers who have a $75,000 adjusted gross income, or married and filing jointly filers, tax filers, say that 3 times fast, who earn $150,000 in adjusted gross income. For every $1,000 that you earn above that, they're going to subtract $50 until the benefit is 0, okay? So again, that tax credit is really based off of what your adjusted gross income is. And here's what's amazing. When we think about tax credits, we think about tax time. I was talking to somebody today about when I wanted to move, and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about April 15th. And the woman was like, girl, you know that's tax day. And I'm like, oh shoot, yes it is. So like tax day, when you're filing your taxes, is usually when you get the benefits of the tax credit. But for this particular tax credit, the third stimulus is offering an opportunity for you to get payments prior to tax time. They're saying that the payments for this tax credit would start July 2021 and run through December 2021. So let's say you had 1 child and you qualified for the $3,000 tax credit. You could get $250 in July 2021, $250 August 2021, September 2021, you would get $250 all the way to December 2021. You're getting $250 just from this child, right? So all of a sudden, it's like, okay, you want to have a third breakfast? We're going to use some part of that $250. We're going to use $2 for that banana, $2 for that apple, $1 for the plum that you eating, because we eating healthy up in this house, right? So essentially, you can get that benefit early. And this is great for those parents who, again, are incurring additional expenses, or perhaps you're going through a job change or a life change where that money can really help you in the meantime, in between time. One thing I also love about this particular credit is that you do not have to be working in order to get that. So I know that there were some moms and dads that had to come home, perhaps even leave your jobs, because daycare centers were closed and school were closed, and baby girl, right, baby boy needed to come home, and somebody needed to be able to supervise this 6-year-old. Let's keep going to the next tax credit. So the next tax credit is the child care credit. And the child care credit is different than the child tax credit. This particular credit has to do with the expenses that you incur when you are paying for other people to take care of your child, right? So that might include you need the babysitter to come over here, watch your child, so you can make some profit or you can get some peace of mind. My mom used to tell me when I was a kid and I wanted to lay up all on her, because you know how kids don't want to give you the personal space. They be all up in your neck, all up in your ear, right? You love them, but they be all up in your bosom. You be like, I love you, baby, but you know, mama, she need a little piece of, can I just get just a little me time? So essentially with the child care credit, it will afford you $4,000, up to a $4,000 credit for 1 child if you spend money on eligible expenses, and for 2 or more children, you can get up to an $8,000 tax credit for eligible expenses. What are eligible expenses? Well, these are child care centers. It's the babysitter. So you got a babysitter named Jerome. He come over here. He watch your kids. He looking cute. So you got your hair rag on before he come on. He come in here to babysit your kids. The hair rag, it's over here. It's on the floor. Well, it's not on the floor because you're not like that. You know, you took the hair rag off. You done hid it away, put it in your bathroom. Jerome come in, watch the kids. You're like, hey, Jerome, who you dating? Okay, that might not be your life. It might not be your life. But anyway, babysitter, child care center, summer camp, and any other expense that you incur, to just make sure that your child is taken care of, okay? The other thing about this tax credit is that it is fully refundable. So essentially, again, at the end of the tax year, let's say you have a $1,000 tax bill and you apply the full $4,000 credit for your 1 child, then guess what? Now you get a $3,000 refund. Okay, so that's how that works. It applies to reduce your tax bill, and if your tax bill is reduced to a 0, then this tax credit can kick in as a refund. Now, I don't want you to cut off of the live. I say the live. I don't want you to cut off the video just yet, because when you think about self-employed individuals, our mind has been wired to, okay, this needs to be somebody who got their own brick and mortar, got employees. Self-employed individuals is your DoorDash drivers, your Uber drivers, your Lyft drivers. Maybe you work handy, you go and fix things for people, or you put things together for people. Maybe you got a business on Fiverr, Upwork. So these are your sole proprietors. These are your single member LLCs. These are your independent contractors. Self-employed people, right? You're making money through a business that you own. One thing that a lot of self-employed individuals don't know is that you can get tax credits for qualifiable family and sick leave, which is mind-blowing, because when you think about entrepreneurship, you think about all the benefits that you may not be able to get that your 9-to-5 affords you, right? 9-to-5s, for the most part, they give you sick leave, they give you vacation leave, they give you family leave. When you're a self-employed entrepreneur, you already know how many hats you need to wear, right? You got to be the CEO, the CTO, the secretary, you got to be the accountant, the attorney, the social media manager, the event planner. You wear so many different hats when you're first starting, and you may think, I don't have the benefits that are available to me, and when will I be able to get leave and get paid for it? Well, for the third stimulus package, they are offering 60 credits to self-employed individuals who need to take qualified family or sick leave. And yo, kids, what does that mean? 60 credits. So glad that you asked. Here are how credits are calculated. You're going to pull your tax form. Okay, go ahead, pull your tax form. I want you to look at your net profit. Okay, I want you to look at your net profit. So there's gross income, that's how much you made, minus expenses. So those are the expenses that you incurred in your business, and then you have your net profit. You're going to take your net profit and you're going to divide that by 260. Whatever the resulting number is how much the government will pay you each day that you're on a qualified sick or family leave. So essentially, one credit equals 1 day. So I want you to go ahead and do that math. Let's say you do the math and that shakes out to $150, right, per day. So that's $150 per day for up to 60 days. The maximum benefit for this particular opportunity is up to $12,000. And for a self-employed individual, that can mean the difference between you was riding around and getting an Uber, riding around getting an Uber, right? And then you had to take some family leave. You had to take some sick leave. Maybe you came down with a cold or something else and you just needed to take some leave. Then guess what? This is an opportunity during tax time, if you qualified for this, right? For you to go ahead and get that loss compensation back from the federal government. Let me tell you something. To me, like, out of all of the things that I didn't explain to you, I'm like, come on, child, come through. Sam, with the family leave and the sick leave with my 60 credits, okay? So let's keep going. Here are some qualifiable expenses that may make you eligible for sick and family leave that, again, is tax credits during tax time. Let's say you had COVID symptoms or you had COVID, so God bless you. I'm sending you all the light, love, and energy, hoping for your full recovery. Let's say that perhaps one of your children or another dependent that lived in your household got sick and they were unable to care for themselves. So you had to take some time off from Uber driving, right? From Lyft driving, from door dashing in order to take care of them. You may qualify for this. Or let's say that you went to go drop your child off at the child care center and they said they were going to be on lockdown for 2 days. Like, you can't come for 2 days and there's nobody else to take care of your child. So you have to stay home with them for those 2 days and you miss out on your compensation, right? Babysitter Jerome, he didn't come over. You want him to come over? You took your hair rag off and everything. And Jerome, he didn't come over. So you had to take care of your own child. Guess what? That is a credit that you may be eligible for. So make sure that you take advantage of this benefit. Let's keep going. Let's talk about student loans. All right. So I know some of you all are excited because student loan legislation language was included in the stimulus. and this is what they said. Any student loans that are forgiven cannot be taxed. And this is amazing because I'm sure you all are familiar with public student loan forgiveness. And so that's where the government will forgive your loans if you make enough qualifiable eligible payments, if you work for a nonprofit organization or even work for the federal government and they say, okay, you've done your time, you've made your payments, we are forgiving your student loan payments. But here's the thing, when they do that, they usually tax you for the amount that is forgiven. And so in this stimulus, what Biden said was, no, right? No, you cannot tax someone for student loan forgiveness. If any of you all read the word, you know it says forgive 70 times 7, right? Some of y'all ain't even forgiven once. Somebody, you know how you be talking to somebody and they be like, I'm sorry, but, you know, you be like, hold up. When you apologize, it needs to be a period, not a comma, not a semicolon, not an ellipsis. Because usually on the other side of that but, I'm sorry, but I don't forgive you. I'm sorry, but I always remember, no, boo, leave the but at home. I'm sorry. Period. With a T. So what Biden's saying is that if you do obtain student loan forgiveness, then they will not tax you on the other side of I'm sorry. Okay? And what this is paving the way for is that right now, there are Democrats that are having conversations about student loans being 100% forgiven. So right now they're looking at, well, do we forgive $10,000 all the way up to $50,000 in student loan debt? So if legislation like that is introduced in the future, essentially what that means is that if you get this, guess what, right? You can get $50,000 forgiven, would not be taxed. Let's talk about rent relief. So there are people watching this live right now that are going through a really difficult time. Perhaps you are struggling to pay your rent and you're trying to figure out what opportunities are available to you. Let's talk about it. First, I want to say that the National Eviction Moratorium ends March 31st, 2021. This stimulus package, though it does include funding to support eviction relief efforts, unfortunately, it does not include an extension of the National Eviction Moratorium. Now, this may change, right? At the time of this recording, March 11, 2021, that language hasn't been included. It might change. In the meantime, in between time, funding has been provided to the state level to trickle down to the local level. So here's the thing. There are $5 billion available in emergency housing vouchers, $5 billion set aside to fight homelessness, and $100 million for rural housing. How do you get access to this funding where you are? I'm going to drop a link in the bio. I want you to click a link on this bio. This will take you to the hud.gov website. And essentially what that will do is it will connect you with a link that links out to every single state in the United States of America. When you click that link, find your state and then go and find your city. And I want you to make sure that you apply for any eviction relief that you need in your life right now. I did this research for Alexandria, Virginia, which is near where I live, and you can get a voucher for up to $4,410 as a single tax filer. And for a lot of people, that can mean the difference between keeping a roof over your head or not. So apply for it as soon as possible. I know when I went through the process for research purposes for this video, what I found out is that sometimes there is pre-eligibility, okay? So again, I'm gonna drop the link for you to go visit it, sending you all the good vibes. Next, during the National Eviction Moratorium, it is illegal for any landlord to charge you any late fees, penalties, or other charges. So if that's happened to you, again, you want to make sure to send your landlord to the hud.gov website so they can see in writing that the federal government has said during a national eviction moratorium, you cannot charge these fees. You should not be paying those fees, and those fees should not be charged to you. Finally, we're going to talk about the last benefit. Now, y'all know I am Miss Paycheck Protection Program Queen, right? I love to tell y'all about the Paycheck Protection Program, especially when there are small businesses like Ruth Chris and Joel Osteen and the NBA and Shake Shack, who all put their hand in small businesses' pockets and said, I'm a small business too. No, you're not. So the Paycheck Protection Program was designed to keep small businesses open. And when I'm saying small, I'm not talking about small as in fewer than 500 employees. I'm talking about your local restaurant. One of my favorites is Carolina Kitchen and Turning Natural. Perhaps it's your Lash Girl, your Braid Girl, your Uber driver. This is the person who creates educational content and courses. This is the person who has t-shirt inventory, right? These are people who create the butters and the lotions and the creams and the hair products. You know, these are folks who might be paid a separate and unequal income, and their business enterprise, they just want to keep it open so they can supplement the income that their employer should be paying them anyway. The reason why I bring that up is the Paycheck Protection Program can provide up to $20,833 to self-employed individuals, single-member LLCs, sole proprietors, independent contractors, okay? More money has been allocated to the Paycheck Protection Program, but one thing that was not indicated in the stimulus is that this benefit to date, so as of the recording of this video, which is 3/11/2021, they're not extending the deadline past March 31st, 2021. So what that means is that if you are applying for this benefit, it is incumbent upon you, when you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, for you to contact your local bank, your local credit union, your local community development financial institution, and have a conversation with them about how you can go ahead and submit your application, get it submitted to SBA and approved before March 31st, 2021. There are some financial institutions that are no longer accepting applications. That includes Bank of America, no longer accepting applications. For them, they have reached their threshold, but you can still reach out to other lenders. So Blue Vine is one of them. So is Small Biz Credit. I did a full-on YouTube that walks you through the process of applying successfully and quickly, and getting your application process is in as few as 48 hours. Make sure that if you are self-employed, single member LLC, sole proprietor, independent contractor, that you're pulling your 2019 Schedule C profit or loss form. You're looking at your line 7. You are dividing that number by 12 and multiplying it by 2.5 in order to get that benefit. Recent changes by the Biden administration has said that they're going to calculate the loan amount based off of gross income and not net profit. So again, that's the money that you made before expenses. If your business was not started before February 15th, 2020, you are not eligible for this benefit. If your business was started before February 15th, 2020, and you did not gross any revenue, again, you are not eligible for this benefit. This benefit, specifically for self-employed individuals, was meant to be ownership income replacement. So this is meant to replace income that you lost because of COVID. And now that we are getting through COVID, essentially they want to be like, okay, if you weren't making income before, we cannot replace zero. All right. Be prepared to submit your bank statements. They will ask for them. Be prepared to submit proof of your identity. They're going to ask for it. And I wish you the best of luck. And if you've gotten this far in my video, I just want to say, impossible is just a starting point. I want you to tell yourself that on the other side of effort is opportunity. And the only way you lose is if you quit. And so as we're going through this stimulus journey together, I want you to embrace the mantra, you either win or you learn. Don't forget to kiss the like button with your finger and hit subscribe. Until next time, love you guys. Bye-bye.